relationships matter, right? Your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with yourself, but also your relationship with food. It matters. It truly does. And so I want to share with you guys a little backstory in case you guys don't know about me, in terms of where I was and where I'm at right now, So way back in the day when I was a young blood, right? So I grew up in an Italian household, right? The finish everything on your plate mentality, the good foods versus bad foods. My parents were healthy, whole nine yards, right? But me, right? Like I like to eat, right? That's me. I still do, right? I have the biggest sweet tooth in the world. And yeah, so anyways, long story short, whenever there was the food that I wasn't supposed to have, I would make sure that if it was ever available in front of me, I would for sure scarf it down to making sure that, hey, if this is the last time I was going to have this, let's just say donuts, I'm not having one or two. I'm having the whole dozen, right? That's my mentality, right? Mini food challenge with the donuts. Because in my head, I'm like, oh man, this is bad food. I shouldn't be having this, but hey, I'm never going to get this opportunity again, right? So I'll just scarf it down. So I grew up with that mentality with food. I also grew up with the mentality of, hey, don't waste your food. Don't throw it away, right? There are people in third world countries that are starving. Like that's disrespectful to throw away your food. If your eyes are bigger than your stomach, I heard that all the time. If your eyes are bigger than your stomach, like you best make sure that you finish everything on your plate, right? So that's how I grew up, And obviously I was active, right? Played sports and everything like that with my friends around the neighborhood and whatnot. But regardless, like when I got to let's say middle school and freshman of high school, I was putting it on, right? And I was trying my best to work out, but I just always want to be honest with myself. Even though I was working out, right, trying my best to do push-ups and stuff like that, and I've always hated cardio, but regardless, I say this lightly, tried to work out, meaning I had no idea what I was doing at all. And I think that's what led to me, tearing both my rotator cuffs and whatnot. But regardless, to me, I was bulky, right? Muscular, big, etc., right? To everybody else and, to myself now looking back at it, I was chunky, right? Not bulky, chunky, fat. And it didn't really hit me until I just remember a couple girls were laughing at me one day at lunch and they had those chunky bars, right? A little candy bar with there's raisins inside, I think peanuts and whatnot. They threw it at me one day and they're like, here, chunky, here's a chunky bar. And that's when it kind of clicked. That's when it kind of hit me where it was oh shoot, they're laughing at me, and I understood, right? So obviously through all the pain and suffering, right? You got to go through sometimes, right? Those trials, right? Those challenges, right? Girls making fun of you and whatnot for you to realize, hey, I got to take action. I got to do something, right? So that's exactly what I did. But here's the downfall. I did not know what to do. So I turned to bodybuilding.com and different, men's health and fitness magazines. And it was literally, this strict diet of chicken and broccoli and rice to intermittent fasting to cut out all your carbs to where it was every month there was something new. And I was just dabbling in, just trial. And it sucked because all of them said I couldn't eat donuts. And me... That's who I am. I'm that guy that eats the donuts, right? So I hated it all, right? Plain and simple. I had to do a lot of different trial and errors, right? In terms of weight cuts when I started mixed martial arts, because I started that to obviously lose some weight, build some self-discipline, build some, confidence as well. And so long story short with that, I had some horrible MMA fights because I basically killed myself to lose the weight, not have any energy at all whatsoever, and I didn't perform at probably the best that I could have been, So it wasn't until I got certified in nutrition where I really kind of figured it out and I'll say this right before we continue, I'm not good at school at all, at all, not good at all, meaning I didn't even make it into the Marine Corps because I failed my ASVAB test 3 times. Now, being physically fit, awesome. I got that. Being street smart, awesome. I got that. But book smart, It's not my thing. I suffer with reading comprehension and I suffered a lot with test anxiety, okay? So when it came to me getting certified in nutrition, it was something that I truly enjoyed learning about, right? And I was like, oh, this is great. Like it was something that was like a missing piece of the puzzle for me. So when I got certified, I understood it all. But now the hard problem is like taking my credentials of what I, learned and was teaching that to, let's say, the members I was training, right, when I was like my personal training clients, right, when I worked in the gym, before I went online and everything like this. So that's when I really kind of put the pieces together, right, in terms of like, how do you take the big boy words and terminology and how do you simplify things, right? And that's where, obviously the birth of Heartletics kind of stemmed from and everything like this. But hear me out, because somebody just listened to my whole entire, 6 minutes of me going ranting on about my childhood and about, my trials and errors of nutrition and training to where I am today. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because I'm probably no different than you at all. That's it. Plain and simple. Like I have the biggest sweet tooth ever now, still do, right? I love smashing on like Chinese food, right? Italian, obviously being Italian, right? So my pizza, cannolis, everything. You put it in front of me. There's only one thing I absolutely hate when it comes to food, and that's like beef stroganoff. I won't eat that with the ever. But that's it, right? I'll eat anything, and I will, right? Because I love food, and you should too. But here's me, right? Like here's where I want this to be really flipping of the switch. How is it that I stay relatively lean, right? Anywhere from 10 to, let's say, max, right? 15% body fat all year round. And if you guys know me or ever seen me eat, like I smash. I don't just play around with just like, oh, I have a little portion. No, I still have that, internal Italian heart when I was a kid, as far as, right, like the eyes are bigger than the stomach, so to speak. How is it that I can still eat like that and look like this, right? And perform the way that I do in the gym and everything be fine and dandy? It's because of my relationship with food. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned when I got certified was, when I was going through bodybuilding, .com and men's health and fitness magazines and trying all these different diets, is there was always this, you have to eat like this, you have to eat like this, you have to eat like this, which means you can't eat like this, you can't have these foods, right? And I did not like that, right? And I think that's why I don't do well in corporate America, because I don't like when people tell me what to do, right? I like being my own boss, so to speak. So with these diets, I can never stick with long term. So when I got certified, I understand, okay, it was calories and then macronutrients and then micronutrients. I understood that, right? And then I figured out how do I just simplify things to then, give that information away to my members, right, that I was coaching with in person at the gym. That way they can get better results, because obviously nutrition is 80 to 90% of everything, right? So it's like I wanted to make sure I could do that. But here's the thing. When I got certified, it didn't say you can't eat donuts anymore. It didn't say you need to avoid this and you can't eat this and here's the only list of foods that you should be having for your macros. No, it didn't say any of that at all, right? So that's when it would really kind of click with me and was that light bulb effect of like, okay, cool. It's possible to fit in your favorite foods. It's possible to do all this and look a certain way. It's all about moderation. But most importantly, moderation mixed with strategies. If let's say you do want to have these mini food challenges, right? Or anniversaries or cheat days or special strategies, right? Strategies, having everything in moderation, right? The right techniques, the right things to do to offset things in terms of like a weekly calorie perspective or also a training perspective to help you burn more calories, right? To fit in those favorite foods. Like you start learning about these things, right? And this is where it lead me today, where, over the past several years, I've helped thousands of members, right, learn the same mindset, which means they have the same relationship when it comes down to food. There is no good foods versus bad foods. It's just food equals fuel. Which food do I want to eat to perform better, right? But at the same time, I can still fit in my cakes. I can still fit in my donuts and whatnot. I can still fit in my pizza. And once you learn that, there's going to be less guilt. Meaning, like, have you ever felt like, you go out to eat, you have a big dinner, maybe you have some dessert, and the next day, like, it's good in the moment, right? But then the next day you feel really guilty about this. There is no more guilt. Once you learn, like I said, the knowledge, once you learn the strategies, once you learn the correct approach to having this relationship with food and how it really is, food equals fuel. So my call to action, my challenge to you is like, if you're somebody that's listening to this right now and you're doing, hopping from fad diet to fad diet to fad diet to fad diet, you're just wasting your time. All you're going to do is lose weight, regain it right back. This yo-yo effect. You need to learn how to literally drive a car, right? Which means somebody has to teach you. And then that's your vehicle. You got your license, which means that, hey, you can go pick up your friends, go pick up your family, drive people around. It's you. You're off to the races. You acquired the knowledge. And my call to action to you is acquire the knowledge. If you're somebody that's struggling right now with your health, maybe you're overweight, maybe you can't fit in your favorite clothes, maybe you're uncomfortable taking your shirt off in public, maybe you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, maybe type 2 diabetes. All of this is reversible with proper nutrition, but it starts with you having the proper relationship with food first and foremost in order to get there where you're trying to get to with your goals. And if you guys need any help with that, obviously go check out heartletics.com. We have a free training guide that goes over our 7 essential fat loss habits for success, where you can learn this proper mindset of nutrition. But on top of that, hey, schedule a discovery call. Speak with either myself or somebody from my team and just get help, because all you need is honestly just proper education, proper knowledge. And once you have that, that's going to last you the rest of your life. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two from today's episode. If you did, definitely go share this with a friend, family member, anybody that's struggling with their health, struggling with, their weight. It's definitely going to help them out in terms of having a proper mindset when it comes down to nutrition, how to just view it differently. And with that being said, this has been Coach Joe with the Heartletics Podcast. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.